Hello, dear students. Welcome to the session and welcome to my newly launched EdTech startup and Thrive the Learning app. In the previous session, I discussed capacitor and its capacitance. I also discussed linear, active, and bilateral elements. In this session, I'm going to discuss one of the most important and very basic topic of electrical engineering, that is Ohm's law, and then we'll discuss different types of voltage and current sources. So before starting the session, here is a small introduction about me. Myself, Mayank Kumar, your educator and founder of this app. I have the teaching experience of 4 years. I have the industrial experience of 1 year. I have done masters in electrical engineering from NIT Patna. I have qualified GATE 8 number of times and also cleared public sector undertaking exam. I have mentored more than 10,000 students. My areas of expertise are network theory, power electronics, power systems, electrical machines, and control systems. So let's begin the session with Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? So Ohm did an experiment. He took a conductor having some resistance R. He connected a battery. He connected a battery across the conductor. So here I am drawing a battery. This is the battery, and the battery always have a positive terminal and negative terminal, and we can vary the voltage of a battery. So this is the battery. Now what he observed, he started varying the voltage of the battery. He started the varying voltage from 0 volt, 1 volt, 2 volt, like this he was varying the voltage. So what he observed, the current was flowing through the resistor. He observed that when voltage is increasing, the current is also increasing in the same proportion. So then he gave a law that when a potential is applied across a conductor, then current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to voltage, and its reverse is also true. That means V is proportional to I. And from here he gave a constant, and it is equal to V equal to I into R. This R is called resistance and its unit is ohm. Clear? Now he told one more point. He told that since resistance of any conductor varies with temperature, if temperature increases, then resistance will increase. So he told that this law is valid, applicable only when temperature is fixed. Only when temperature is constant, it is maintained constant. So if you write the statement of Ohm's law, so this is very beautiful statement that it states that current through a conductor is directly proportional to voltage applied across its terminals at constant temperature. This term is very much important. Why? If temperature is not constant, then R will change. R will change means what? Then you are writing this kind of equation that won't be valid because R is changing. So in your exam viva, lab viva, or in interviews also, the interviewer asks this question: what is Ohm's law? They know that you will definitely answer this one, whether it is I proportional to V and V proportional to I. But they want to listen this term, constant temperature. If you don't tell that temperature is constant, he won't give you marks. Even I was also doing the same thing in laboratories when I was taking viva. Next, another thing they ask is, they'll ask whether tell me V is proportional to I or I is proportional to V. Which one is correct? So what you have to tell? You have to tell sir or ma'am, both are correct. I is proportional to V, V is proportional to I. Again, they'll ask you the difference between these two proportionality terms. So I am telling you the difference. I am telling you the difference. One difference is, suppose this is R, and when current is flowing through resistor, then there will be a potential drop across the resistor, and this potential drop will be V. So at that time you will say that V is proportional to I. That means the potential drop will be proportional to I. So here this V is potential drop. Next, second term I am writing I proportional to V. I proportional to V means here What is V? V supply voltage, and I is then current flowing through this one. Then here you write V is supply voltage. So this is the basic difference between these two terms, V proportional to I and I proportional to V. So I hope this one is now clear to you all. So next, once you got the expression for Ohm's law, now suppose somebody is asking you to calculate power. So what do you know? Power P equal to V into I. Now suppose the first condition, voltage and resistance are given to you. These two terms are given to you. So now what you have to do, if you have to write power expression, you will write V into I. Next, V is known to you, but I you don't know. So instead of I, what will you put? You will put V by R. So from here, P will be equal to V square divided by R. Unit will be watts. So you got another expression for electrical power. Second condition is I and R will be given to you. When I and R are given to you, now if you have to find power P, what will you do? You will write V equal to I into R into I. From here, the expression of power is coming I square R watts. So what do you observe? You observe that P is, you can write V into I, or you can write V square by R, or you can also write as I square R. These are the expressions of electrical power consumed by the load. I hope it is clear to you. Now what happens? Suppose you have a bulb. Now the bulb will have some resistance R. So what do you see? Bulb is connected to a supply, across a supply, and what is the value of voltage? Voltage 230 volt. So when you are connecting a bulb of across 230 volt supply, the bulb have resistance R, then what you write? P equal to V square by R. Now what do you see? If resistance is more, then power will be less, and if resistance is less, then power will be more. It means, what do you know? Somebody is saying that 100-watt bulb, somebody is giving you 300-watt bulb. So which bulb has more resistance? In examination also they can ask the question like this: which bulb has more resistance? So what will be your answer? 100-watt bulb has less power, that means more resistance, and for 300-watt resistance is less. So this should be your answer. This is the way to give the answer of such questions. So now let us move to a question. It is given electric bulb has a resistance of 500 ohm, means you can write, given that bulb has a resistance of 500 ohm and supply of 230 volt. It is connected across 230 volt supply. You have to calculate power consumed in the bulb. So power is equal to what? V square by R. From here you can write 230 square divided by 500. It will come around 105. Yes, 105.8 watts. From here P is equal to 105.8 watt. This is the power consumed by the bulb. Now what do you understand? From here you can get an idea that when you go to purchase a bulb, that bulb, yellow color bulb at the shop, so their shopkeeper will ask you what should be the rating of bulb. What rating bulb do you want? So you will tell like 60 watt, you will tell like 100 watt, you will tell like 180 watt. So you can observe that if you go to purchase a bulb of 100 watt, that means its resistance will be around 500 ohm. So now I hope it is clear to you. Second thing is, again the people can ask you that suppose a bulb has more power. If a bulb has more power, then tell me what will be the filament size. So you can say that if bulb has more power, it means resistance will be less. Resistance is less when it is possible. You write R equal to rho into L by A. When the area of cross section is more, then resistance will be less. It means the filament will be thinner. Next, a bulb has less power. Less power means resistance more. Resistance more means area is, in the first case area is more, that means thicker. This case, first case, the filament will be thicker, and second case the filament will be thinner, that means area will be less. So this is the way to tackle the questions of resistance, bulb and power. Next come to very beautiful term, that is sources. So what are the sources of electrical power? So here I am categorizing the sources. You have two sources, one is voltage source, one is current source. Voltage source means what? It will maintain the voltage across the terminal. If there is current source, then it will inject directly current. Again, the voltage source are being divided into two categories: independent voltage source and dependent voltage source. Current source is divided into two categories: independent voltage current source, dependent current source. Now, what is the meaning of independent and dependent? Suppose there are two members in your family, means suppose you are two brothers. Okay, you are two brothers, suppose A and B. Now what happens? You are doing a job, means you are earning, you have your own money, but your brother, he is studying, he is a student, and he is taking money from parents. So that means your brother right now, he is, in terms of money, he is dependent on parents, but in terms of money you are not dependent on parents right now, because you are earning. So you are the independent source and your brother is dependent source. So here also the independent source will have its own potential. Suppose it is 100 volt. But in the case of dependent source, you will see that its value will be dependent upon some other parameters, other branch currents or branch voltage. So that is called dependent source. We will study in very deep just from next slide about dependent sources. Again, in independent source, there are two types of sources. One is ideal, one is practical. What is the meaning of ideal? Ideal means that does not exist. But if somebody is saying ideal voltage source, that means if ideal voltage source 100 volt value is there, so at any cost, any condition, it will maintain 100 volt across its terminal. But the practical voltage source will have some voltage drop and it won't be able to maintain 100 volt. So it will maintain less than 100 volt battery voltage, that is practical voltage source. Next is VCVS, voltage control voltage source, and ICVS, current control voltage source. These two are dependent sources. Now in dependent source you have two types, two categories. One is its value will depend upon the voltage of another branch, that is voltage controlled voltage source. For example, its value is A into V1. It means what? It means A is a constant and V1 is the branch voltage of, that means voltage across first branch. So that is VCVS. Similarly, if you write ICVS, ICVS will be like A into I1. That means its value is dependent on the current flowing in another branch. Similarly, the current source will be of independent current source and dependent. Independent means its value is fixed. Dependent means its value is dependent on some other branch current or voltage. Again, in independent, ideal current source, that will maintain some constant current like 5 ampere, and if there is practical current source, there will be some drop in the current and its value will be less than 5 ampere. Next, dependent current source, there are two types. One is voltage controlled, another one is current controlled. So voltage control simply A into V1, current control it will be A into I1. So now let us study all these points in very detail. So let's start with independent voltage source. What is independent voltage source? Again, in independent you have ideal and practical. So let us discuss about ideal voltage source. The ideal voltage source, it will look like this. It will be written like this, or its symbol will be like this. Here it will be plus minus, or if you have alternating supply, which I'll explain you later. In alternating supply, it's like sinusoidal. So these three are the representation of ideal voltage source. And independent, it is independent ideal voltage source. Its value is fixed. I hope it is clear to you. Now what happens? Suppose this is the ideal voltage source V. Here is the terminal of the battery. So across the terminal AB, right now this will be called open circuited terminal. This is called open circuited terminal. Now why it is called open circuited? Because you can see this terminal is open. No load is connected across this terminal. So at this time it is maintaining a voltage V volts. Now what happens? Suppose somebody is showing like this. Suppose here it is 5 volt. So right now you can write VAB equal to 5 volt. Clear? Next, you have the short circuit terminal. That means somebody comes and they just put a wire of zero resistance across this battery. So this is called short circuit. Now what is the meaning of short circuit? Short circuit means, suppose this is 5 volt battery. So what will happen? The moment you short circuit this one, this resistance is 0. Now in the circuit the resistance is 0. If the resistance is 0, then very huge amount of current flow through the circuit and this battery will be discharged, circuit will be damaged. So this is called short circuit. So this is A, this is B. Now if somebody is asking you the voltage across AB terminal in short circuit condition, what will you write? I into resistance 0, that means 0 volt. I hope it is clear to you. So this is about independent voltage source. I hope it is clear to you. Now what happens? Let us write practical voltage source. Let us discuss practical voltage source. So what is practical voltage source? In the case of practical voltage source, there will be some voltage drop. That means you will see the practical voltage source will look like this. Right now I will explain you why the resistance is being put in series. This is A, this is B terminal, this is resistance R, this is voltage V. Right now it is open circuited. But what will happen? After some time you will see like this. Suppose you have the battery and you have the internal resistance. This is the internal resistance, this is battery. Now what happens? If you connect a load, suppose you are connecting a load, its resistance is RL. So what will happen? This terminal is A, this terminal is B. So what will happen? This load will draw the current I. When this load is drawing the current I, so now if somebody is asking you VAB, so I am changing the color, I am writing V. Let me change the color and we'll write VAB. So what will be the value of VAB? Here, see this point. This is voltage V, battery V. If there was no resistance, its terminal voltage will be V volt. But right now here is a resistance. So what is the role of this resistance? A current I will flow through this resistor and there will be a potential drop. There will be a potential drop across this resistor. So if there is potential drop, what is the value of potential drop? Current I, resistance R. It means simply Ohm's law, V drop will be equal to I into R. So net voltage will be how much? Net voltage will be V minus I into R. V minus I into R. This is the value of VAB for a given load. Now here somebody write VAB, the first circuit. So what will happen? Here since it is open circuit means there is no path for the flow of current. So current will be 0. If current is 0, then this drop will be how much? 0. So here V minus 0 into R, its value will be V. Its value will be V. Here the value will be V minus IR. Now think practically. Suppose this is 10 volt. If this is 10 volt and suppose the drop is 2 volt, so what will happen? Total 8 volt voltage will appear across the terminal. I hope it is clear to you. Now your question will be, sir, first tell me why the resistance is connected in series in the case of independent practical voltage source. So my answer will be, you may be surprised, right now suppose this is the circuit voltage. Now you can say that I want to connect a resistance in parallel with this one. So please tell me whether this is practical voltage source or not. So you can think, this is voltage V, this is ground or reference terminal. What is ground or reference terminal? Ground or reference terminal means, ground means potential 0 volt. In electrical engineering, somebody is saying you ground, it means potential 0 volt, or it is taken as reference. So here it is potential 0 volt, here potential will be V volt. Now what will happen? You can see this is the common wire. Here also the wire is very common. So here also potential will be V volt. So here across AB terminal the potential will be V volt. This is the resistance R. So if you are placing a resistance in parallel to the battery, so what happens? There is no any potential drop across because of that resistance. So what will happen? What will happen? Then you are getting simply ideal voltage. That's why for practical voltage source, the resistance is shown in series only. This question is being asked in examinations many times. Your answer will be for practical voltage source. Practical voltage source. What happens to practical voltage source? For practical voltage source, a resistance is connected in series. Why? Because if there is resistance, then only there will be potential drop. Next, this is practical voltage source. So next come to another point, that is dependent voltage source. And before that, let us discuss one more part. Let us discuss one more part here. Now I am putting 4 combinations here. One combination I am putting like this. V, again 2 batteries are connected in series. Suppose this is 5 volt, this is 4 volt. In the second condition, I am making the same kind of circuit, same arrangement, and right now I am putting the 2 batteries of equal voltage, that means 5 volt and 5 volt. Let us draw third circuit. Here I am putting 2 batteries in parallel. Here 2 batteries are connected and these 2 batteries are in parallel. Again there is a common terminal, and this one is 5 volt, this one is 4 volt. Next, fourth one is you have a battery, again you have another battery. Next, terminal AB. Now here both the voltages are same, 5 volt, 5 volt. Now what happens? You are an electrical engineer, so somebody comes to you and they will simply ask you that, engineer Sahab, there are 4 different circuits. Now you tell me the terminal voltage. Terminal voltage means this voltage, the value of terminal voltage for all the 4 conditions. So come to first condition. First condition, what do you see? This is reference terminal or ground terminal, its potential is 0 volt. Now there is a battery of potential 5 volt. So here at this terminal potential will be 5 volt. Now what happens? After this battery you have another battery, its potential is 4 volt. So here the potential will become 5 volt plus 4 volt, that means 9 volt. That means potential of ground terminal is 0 volt potential of this terminal will be 9 volt. It means total potential is 9 volt minus 0, that is 9 volt. So this will be the answer of engineer Saha. Here also this is 0 volt, this is 5 volt. Again there is one more battery, its potential is 5 volt. So net potential is 5 plus 5, that is 10 volt. Now come to third circuit. Third circuit, this is 0 volt. Next, the potential of this point will be 5 volt. Suppose if you consider this battery. Now what happens if you come to this point, you have another battery. This is also an ideal battery. It will say that right now you are trying to maintain a voltage of 5 volt, but I'll try to maintain a voltage of 4 volt. Here you can see the terminals are common, upper terminals and lower terminal. So if you are dealing with two persons, both are ideal, so it is very impossible for you to take any decision if their opinions are different. So right now their opinions are different. One is saying I am 5 volt, I am 4 volt. So right now what will be the situation? The situation will be that you won't be able to decide, and in fact this type of combination is not possible. This is very wrong combination. Two different batteries cannot be connected in parallel, ideal battery. Next come to this point. One is 5 volt battery, another one is also 5 volt battery. The first battery is saying I'll maintain 5 volt, second battery is saying I'll also maintain 5 volt. So here the net voltage will be across the terminal will be 5 volt. This connection is correct. Right now you can accept because though both the batteries are having same potential, that is equal to 5 volt. So this is the story of a voltage source, that means the different connections. Now what happens? Suppose somebody is saying like this, you have the circuit like this, next you have a voltage source here, you have another voltage source here. Again the terminals are A and B. Suppose this is 4 volt, this is 5 volt. Now you have to write the voltage across AB terminal. So what do you see? This is reference point, voltage is 0 volt. This reference point 0 volt. This battery is saying that here the potential should be 4 volt. Now this battery is saying that here potential 0 volt, potential of this point should be 5 volt. Now what happens? For if you start moving from this point, so there is a resistance, its value is suppose R or its value is 2 ohm. So there is a resistance of 2 ohm, so there will be some voltage drop across this resistance, and of course the voltage at this point will be decreased, and this battery is standing here, they will say I am maintaining a potential of 4 volt. So here the potential will be 4 volt. I hope it is clear to you. So what will happen if you write the current through this battery, the current I. So you can say this current I will be equal to, this current I will be equal to 5 minus 4 divided by 2. 5 minus 4 divided by 2, that means 1 by 2 ampere. This will be the current through this one, and potential of AB terminal across AB terminal will be 4 volt. I hope it is clear to you. So this is about independent voltage source. Next one is dependent voltage source. So what is dependent voltage source? I already told you there are two types of dependent voltage source. One is VCVS, that means voltage controlled voltage source. Another one is CCVS or ICVS, that means current controlled voltage source. Now if somebody is asking you to draw the symbol, so its dependent source symbol is like this. If it is a square box, you can say it is dependent source. Now inside the square box, if there is plus minus terminal, it means it is representing voltage source. If instead of plus minus there is arrow symbol, so arrow means it is representing current source. Arrow means it will represent current source. So right now the symbol is plus minus, that means it is representing a voltage source. Voltage source. I think it is clear to you. Now, what I told you, there are two types of sources. One is voltage controlled voltage sources. For voltage controlled voltage sources, how can you recognize? Through the terminal plus minus, you can say this is voltage source. Now, if it is written like A into V1, that means you can say that this V1 is the voltage of another branch. So here you can say that it is voltage control. That means it is dependent upon voltage. Clear? Now again current controlled voltage source. Now you have to draw the figure. What should be there? Voltage source means plus minus. Again current control means it will be something written like A into I1, 5 I1, 10 I1, 10 I2 like this. So this is current controlled voltage source. One is voltage controlled voltage source. I think it is clear to you. Next, again when we'll discuss KCL and KVL, nodal analysis, mesh analysis, at that time we'll see how to deal dependent voltage and current sources. So next is independent current source. So what is independent current source? Independent current source means it will maintain a fixed value of current. Independent means fixed value of current. Again in independent current source you will have ideal current source. Next you will have practical current source. You have two types of current sources, ideal and practical. What is the meaning of ideal current source? The current source will be shown like this. This is ideal current source. Its value will be fixed. That means suppose this is the terminal. Right now it is open circuited, so there is no current through this one. Once you close the circuit and if you measure this current, suppose this is current is IAB, so this IAB current will be equal to how much? It will be equal to I ampere. That means it is pushing a current of I ampere. It is IAB equal to I. Next come to practical current source. So what is the meaning of practical current source? Practical current source means there will be some drop. Suppose ideal current source is maintaining 10 ampere. So this practical current source will maintain less than 10 ampere. So how is it possible? Again you will have to show a drop element, current drop element. So how to design practical voltage source? Right now you are an engineer, you are going to design practical current source. Suppose this is the value I ampere. Now what happens? You have to take this terminal AB. At this terminal you will have to connect a load and you have to show that right now if it is delivering 10 ampere, so current through this resistance is less than 10 ampere. That means IAB is not equal to 10 ampere. So how is it possible? It will be possible only when if you connect a resistance here. If you connect a resistance here, so what will happen? Some current will be drawn by this resistor and rest of the current will be flowing through this one, and hence this IB will be less than current I or less than 10 ampere. Less than 10 ampere. This is current IAB. So this is practical current source. Now if somebody asks you, if I am giving you a practical current source, so tell me whether the resistance will be connected in series or parallel. So what will you say? Practical current source means a resistance, and which resistance? This resistance is called internal resistance. Internal resistance in parallel with current source. Clear? Now I am asking you one question. For this current source, the value of internal resistance R, it should be low or high. It should be low or high. Now think practically. This is 10 ampere source. Now if you are designing a practical current source, means there should be hardly a drop of 1 to 2 ampere of current through this resistance, and rest of the current should be passed through this. So what do you know? Current and resistance. What do you know? Current is equal to V by R. That means if resistance is more, current will be less. So here this value of resistance, internal resistance, should be as large as possible so that current will be minimum. That means the current should be high. This part is incorrect. Current should be high for independent practical current source. Now in the case of voltage source, in the case of independent voltage source, practical voltage source, here what do you see? Here its internal resistance. Practical voltage source, its internal resistance should be resistance. Which resistance? Internal resistance. Resistance should be low. Its internal resistance should be low. That means if you design a practical voltage source, it will look like this. This is the practical voltage source. This is the practical voltage source. I hope it is clear to you. So next let us go to, I hope it is clear to you. This is independent current source, ideal and practical. Now what, again let us take 4 different circuits. First circuit I am taking 2 current source in series. So let us take 2 current sources in series. One is 2 ampere, one is 4 ampere. Again come to second circuit. Let us take 2 current sources in series. This time the current sources have same value. That means it is 2 ampere. It is also 2 ampere. Third case is, let us take 2 current sources in parallel. Right now we are taking parallel current source. And it has different value, that means 2 ampere and 4 ampere. And let us take fourth current source as parallel current sources, and they have the same value of current. They have the same value of current. So this is 2 ampere and this is 2 ampere. Now again engineer Sahab has been asked to write the value of current through load. You are connecting a load and you have to tell the value of current. What will be the value of current in different circuits? So think and tell the values of different circuit currents. First one is 2 ampere source. This one is 4 ampere source. What is the job of ideal current source? Ideal current source tells that irrespective of any current, any circuit condition, I will maintain a constant current of 4 ampere in the closed path. Now this is ideal current source. It will say I will maintain 4 ampere of current. This particular guy will say I will maintain 2 ampere of current. So this type of circuit is not possible. This combination is not possible. Second condition, the first current source, this is ideal. It is saying I will maintain 2 ampere. Second one is saying I will maintain 2 ampere. That means this circuit is perfect and the current will be 2 ampere only. So here the circuit is correct. Now 2 current sources are in parallel. This one will say I will deliver 2 ampere of current. This one will say I will deliver 4 ampere of current. So here the engineer Sahab is sitting. He'll be happy right now. Why? He'll think that, or she'll think that we have 2 sources. Right now these 2 sources are very good. One is saying 2 ampere current I am delivering. Okay, I'll take 2 ampere from this one and I'll take 4 ampere from this one. So when current sources are in parallel, so total currents are being added. So here you will get 6 ampere of current. Next come to fourth condition. Here it is 2 ampere, 2 ampere. It will give 2 ampere. It will also give 2 ampere. So total current will be 4 ampere. Total current will be 4 ampere. So this is independent current source. So next let us discuss dependent current source. Again in dependent current source you have 2 types of sources. One is voltage controlled current source. Another one is current controlled current source, or you can simply write CCCS, current controlled current source. So first let us draw the source, how it looks. Again, the rectangular box will be there, and if there is arrow sign, it means it is showing current source. Now how it will be voltage controlled? If its magnitude depends on voltage, it is called voltage controlled source. And if right now I am drawing another source here, again if its value is written like A into I1, so it means it is called current controlled current source. This is called current controlled current source. So this is one is VCCS, another one is CCCS. Now again you will tell me to ask me to explain these sources in detail. So in detail it will be explained later, but right now I can tell you one thing, that suppose we have the battery like this, we have this resistance, and right now we have a source like this, we have a source like this, and here again we are connecting a resistance. Now suppose the source is like this, this is written as 5 into I1, and I1 is mentioned the branch current through this one, this is 4 ohm, this is 2 ohm, this is 5 volt. So right now you can see this is the example of current controlled current source, CCCS, current controlled current source. Similarly, if somebody gives you the plus minus sign, so it will become current controlled voltage source. So this is about dependent current source. Next one is source transformation. This is very basic and very important topic. What it says? It says that a practical voltage source. It says that a practical voltage source can be converted to a practical current source, and the same way a practical current source can be converted to practical voltage source. It's vice versa process. How is it possible? Let us take a practical voltage source. This is the practical voltage source. This is the voltage V, internal resistance R. So now if you transform it into practical current source, so you can draw the circuit like this. This is practical current source, current is I, resistance is R. Now what happens? This is the supply terminal. So this is practical current source. Now for this practical current source, what is the value of current? So the current value will be V by R. Current value will be V by R. That means a circuit is given to you. Suppose 10 volt is the voltage, 2 ohm is the resistance. So here the value of I will be 10 divided by 2. That means 5 ampere. And resistance value will be fixed as 2 ohm. Similarly, if this is the current source, this is the voltage source. So what will happen? This practical current source can be converted to practical voltage source, and here V will be simply equal to I into R. Or you can write like, if I is 5 ampere, R is 2 ohm, so you will write like 5 into 2, that means 10 volt. This is the value of voltage. So this is the concept of source transformation. Next, I am writing one more point. Just note down this point, that if you have dependent source, then the source transformation of dependent source is also possible. Source transformation of dependent source is also possible. For dependent source, you can easily do that source transformation. I hope it is clear to you. So this is all about the different sources and source transformation. So I hope that you really enjoyed the session. So in the next session we'll discuss some more concepts of basics of electrical circuits.